Good evening, everybody. It's me, KkrakK's. It's Sunday, and I wanted to chat. You know, it's been a bit inconsistent. I stopped by the Sunday chat that was over on Ross's channel this afternoon for about an hour. So, not this weekend coming up, but the next weekend after that, I'll probably be back for the full chat. Whoever's channel that's going to be on, I'll figure it out when we get there. It's been nice kind of stepping back a bit from the doom scrolling and all sorts of other nonsense that comes with social media. Still been active, but not nearly as much as I had been. So it's kind of nice and get some perspective and hanging out with the family and, all sorts of stuff. So it's been good. So I didn't read a ton this week. My reading has definitely dropped off in the past month, probably. A couple of things that I did read. I picked up Strange Number One. So this is the new series. There's something on fire here. Still smells smoky. Um, this is the first issue in a new series with Clea as the Sorceress Supreme. So I was really curious. I didn't read the previous stuff, the Death of Doctor Strange. That wasn't something that I checked out. I had heard some things about it. I think Damien was liking it. I might have heard a couple of other people talking about it. Not that many. Um, I never followed it. I would flip through an issue now and again. I love the character, so I wanted to give this a shot. When I heard that this is the direction it was going to take, I wanted to give it a shot. And I have to say, it was disappointing. It's all hell. There was really nothing that I enjoyed about this issue other than the cover here. The art was kind of crummy. The story didn't really do much for me. So I think I made a comment on Twitter because I'm still doing the 500 comics tag. Just, you dip your toes back into kind of the mainstream. And it's unfortunate when you're met with something like this that's just really, it's just not good. Plain and simple. It's just no good. So that was too bad. I won't be picking up any more than that. Uh, what did I do? I guess I put it somewhere else. I don't know. Oh, I must have put it away. So I picked up the new Last House on, or Nice House on the Lake. Last House on, I've always want to call it Last House on the Lake. Nice House on the Lake, issue number 7, I think it was. Um, I'm sure it was a good issue. I was so confused. It feels like it's been a long time since issue number 6. So I vaguely remember, um, you dip your toe in and notice the story, much like the water ain't so hot. It's very true. Hello, Scott. How are you? Um, so I think it's just been a bit of a break between the two issues that I remembered the gist of what had happened in issue number 6, but I just found myself really confused as to what direction that story was taking. I've really liked it up to this point, so I put that purely on me, that it was just my memory and not kind of being in that zone. Buying monthly comics is not something that I do as kind of often as I once did. So I do end up kind of catching up on things. And when I do read these days, I'm reading like a graphic novel or I'm reading something in a chunk. And it's just, I can kind of digest it that way. Monthly has this real kind of flow to it where you have to be in that zone, right? So um was there something else new that I read? I don't remember. Anyway, so this past Saturday, Red River Bookshop, the one of my favorite places in town. They're all my favorite, but I love Red River. Once a month they have the upstairs open, and it's the first Saturday of every month. So I took the kids and we went, and my daughter was doing great. She found something to read and she sat and read while I just dug. And then my son kind of entertained himself looking through the shelves and things. So they kind of humored their old man and hung out with me for a little while I dug into bins. There was a lot of back issues there, top and bottom row. I sort of did a quick, I have a list on my phone, and I sort of did a quick look through to see if I could, any titles jumped out at me. I just always feel like I don't have enough time to kind of sit and go through every single box, because I'm sure there's a whole bunch of stuff I passed over, but trying to kind of keep things moving. That said, though, I did find a few good things. Another issue of Chester Brown's Yummy Fur. This is issue number 31 from Drawn and Quarterly, and this is 93, September 93. So at the back, he's talking about 10 years. He kind of thanks the Yummy Fur readers for 10 years of kind of hanging out with them, because the first issue came out in 83. Does he say the month? July of 83. So that makes this the 10th anniversary issue. I had a quick look through it. The first story is dedicated to his girlfriend at the time, Sookie Lee, who was she was on Much Music here, a video DJ, I guess, and she'd been in movies. She was here for a movie not too long ago, a couple of years ago, and I think she did some directing as well too. So this is kind of dedicated to her, this first story, and it's the usual kind of Chester use of a page with just these panels surrounded by blackness, you know what I mean? Just kind of laid out on the page. Even though I'm kind of used to it with his stuff, it's always a little jarring when I experience again, like not in a bad way though. I find I really like this layout. It's just, even now, it's such a counter to layouts in kind of mainstream comics and independent comics and all sorts of comics. I don't want to say just mainstream, but comics in general. There's this density on the page, so it's a really nice change of pace to sit and read something like this, and especially this one that's a dedication to her. You kind of float through it a little slower than you would with another book, so it's really nice stuff. Very cool. And then Matthew at the back, and I think that's the only other story. Yeah, it's just so strange flipping through a book with just totally black pages as you're looking on the edge, just seeing all the blackness. It's makes quite an impression, man. So I'm still quite a ways from finishing my Yummy Fur collection here. 32, was there 32, 33, 34 issues? This is near the end anyway. And Colin Blanchette had said on Twitter that the late era stuff is more difficult to find, and that's 100% true. I've surprisingly, the early issues are not, I wouldn't say very easy, because nothing about Yummy Fur is really easy to kind of find at this point, but these later issues are really difficult to see. So I don't know how many I'm away still. I'm probably 15 away or something like that. I've got roughly half of it, so I'm looking forward to eventually finishing that one off as I kind of get out there. That was the only issue that he had. No, maybe he had one other issue that I already had. He had a couple of copies of the Fantagraphics catalog from the fall of 1989. So we had about 50 cents, which is what they would have cost here in Canada when they came out. So just for the hell of it, I grabbed it. It's just a few pages, but, you know, more nostalgia's sake than anything. So 1989, I would have been, what, like 16 years old. So this would have been prime into my Fantagraphics and independent or underground kind of days for sure. So it's really cool to kind of look through this like Captain Jack. I've still got those pretty accessible on one of the wall racks there, because I was dipping into that sometime last year. So it's great. This kind of stuff is great. These mail order catalogs that you'd get with your order, or stuffed inside a comic, or distributed at the comic shop. Listings of back issues of Amazing Heroes. And then I get to a page like this. I have that issue of Blight. I've got Bradley's. I've got Bad News. I've got Bumble Poppy there. So it's just I see a page like this, and this really brings it home for me because this is the stuff minus this at the top here, which is Barney and the Blue Note. I know the cover because I've seen it a million times before, but I don't actually have that book. But other than that, seeing this page instantly brings me back to this era of reading this. And I guess I didn't realize there were so many issues of Centrifugal Bumble Puppy. I think it says 8 there. Yeah, issue number 8. So, and again, the usual when you look back, $2.25, $2, you know, that kind of thing for some of these. Let's just go. There's not many pages, so we'll just go through the whole thing. So City of Light, and then the Comics Journal back issues coming on these pages here. Great Spirit cover there, Eisner cover. And then more, and then Critters, another title I remember. I don't think I ever owned any of those, but I do absolutely remember them around. Another one that was huge for me, I remember when these Complete Crumb comics were coming out, because I do have a couple of the volumes. You know, it was a pretty big thing for sure. Again, it was seeing that, I think it was seeing that underground comics kind of dipping into stuff that I would find in the comic shops, and then kind of tapping into this world of the 90s independent scene and stuff, you know, with the Clouds and the Jim Woodrings and everybody else. So it's just, this absolutely would have been a linking of worlds for me as well. Hello, Miss So. Yes, it's true. It's never really a consistent time, but yeah, thanks for coming and lurk away. And what do we got on the next page? Some Fish and Chicken and the Hollow Brothers and Hollywoodland. I'm realizing I just don't have a lot of light here, so I don't know, it just feels like that lamp will just be too much if it's blazing right in my face. So Kim Deitch, and then Jim Woodring and Lloyd Llewellyn. Then Winsor McKay and some Journey there. So yeah, just great stuff. Love and Rockets and neat stuff, and The Natural Enquirer. Yeah, there we go. Pretty much it. Just the last couple of titles there. So it's just good to have that kind of stuff to flip through every once in a while. I found an issue of Robert E. Howard's Iron Hand of Al Myrick from Dark Horse. So issue number 1 of a 4-issue miniseries. Really beaten up, but you know, it's one that's been on my list for a while, and I just didn't ever really expect to find it, even though it is Dark Horse. So great to find that. It is everybody's favorite Roy Thomas, art by Mark Winchell, and lettering by Gene Simic. And it is 1991, August 1991. So interiors don't look too bad, actually. Hey, there we go. That's some light on it, yeah. So I'm looking forward to this, just to see what it's about. There we go. Is that working? Yeah. Sorry, everybody. I don't have the best setup, and I feel like because I haven't been doing this consistently, I'm a little out of touch here. There's another page there. So yeah, we'll give that a shot and see what it's like. I don't hate the interiors, that's for sure. So that's a bonus. Some of it does end up looking, speaking of Chester Brown and not busy pages, like look at this that's on the page. You know, I don't mean it in such a harsh way, but it just looks like a mess, right? Like it's a mess crammed together on a page. Obviously, this is a different kind of storytelling. We're not talking like dynamic poses and action every single panel, but when you just kind of squint, it's like, can you make heads or tails of those pages? Not really. So yeah, again, that contrast to the yummy fur we were looking at there. Very excited. I actually have issue 5 and 6, so I bought number 6 again because I didn't think that I had it. But now I've got double, so now I'm only missing one issue of the Sword of Solomon Kane, and of course it's issue number 1. I was really disappointed, and I thought I was hoping that it might have been misfiled or something, or put a little forward or behind. So I really checked around where this one was, just to see if I could find number 1, but no luck. So I'm still one away, but I think I've got enough to start in on it anyway. I may read it regardless. Really dig these covers. Yeah, I can't read that signature whatsoever. Sorry, everybody. I wish I could tell you. You know me. I'm just not as good as some of you with this stuff. A lot of these guys I can't recognize just from a glance at the page. So it's not the way my mind works. Focus again. I'm over here. I'm over here. There we go. You can find it. Get the Del Rey of Solomon Kane that was illustrated by Gary Glanny. That's awesome. That is Bill Sienkiewicz? Really, Scott? Oh, shit. I guess it is, hey? I was just looking at his last name and going, what kind of first and last name is that? Hey, look at you. You can read. Excellent work, Scott. You win the Comic Crack prize of, I don't know what, a big sloppy kiss. And then issue number 4. And then this was the double. I already had issue number 6, but oh well, whatever. Could have picked up worse things. And then a couple of the last things we found. Maybe I'll go to this first. We'll end on these other books because I've got a couple of things to say about them, or a couple of them anyway. So from the Comic Addicts, one of the weekly auctions that seems to take place. This guy had gone on a trip to Mexico and picked himself up some Kaliman issues. So we had one up for sale, and I was kind of hoping it was an older one. It's not, which is fine. That cover is just kick-ass. So this is number 2. Really fantastic, and man, do I wish that everything in here looked like this. So this is from 2019, so a few years old at this point. Let's get to some pages inside so you can get a taste of what we're looking at here. So there you go. So not nearly as exciting as the cover, but still, I'm glad I picked it up just to see it up close. The paper, the cover stock is really nice on this. Actually, it has that almost that plate paper, that plastic-like paper. It almost has that kind of feel to it, almost that kind of soft texture. What else? There we go. So there's issue number 2 of this Origin of Kaliman series. It's a great back cover as well too. So from, I don't know, did I mention this on a video? Unfortunately, I went to Comic Factory, which is the one right around the corner of my office, and he was telling me he's closing at the end of this year, which is a real bummer. A shame to see him go. I totally get it. I understand. I can't imagine it's very easy. Probably in most cities when you're based downtown, but here in Winnipeg especially, his shop being kind of downtown, it's just not. During the pandemic, everybody who was around, they started working from home, we're still seeing not a lot of people. The downtown isn't kind of back to the way it used to be. Obviously, even when it's winter, you end up seeing a lot more people around. And a couple of the shop owners I've talked to in the area have said similar things, that it's just not the same amount of foot traffic that they used to have. Then also downtown in general, people aren't coming downtown. A lot of people, they're not making special trips. He's kind of one of the closest shops to me. And especially when I'm at work, it's a nice kind of get out on a Wednesday at lunchtime to take a stroll down there and hang out for a bit. So I'm sorry to see him go. I hope that everything works out for him. So while I was there, I was looking, and I finally jumped into picking up one of these KkrakK's Donald Duck books. So this is Terror of the Beagle Boys. I think it was volume 10 in the series. So much fun. I mean, I read some Donald Duck and Uncle Scrooge when I was a kid, just like most of us did, I'm sure. Or at least reprints, obviously not these original ones or anything, but and DuckTales was huge and all that. So this was a lot of fun. So me and my daughter are reading this together. We read another 2 stories tonight. A really nice mix of kind of some shorter, goofier ones. I mean, they all have some humor in them for sure. And so this first story is Uncle Scrooge has paid Donald to worry for him because he's worried about the Beagle Boys coming to steal all his money. So he kind of loads the cannon in preparing for them to come through the front door. And he's asleep. He's sleeping at the cannon, so he calls Donald back. Finally, they just kind of get this idea to rig it up to the door. And of course, Scrooge leaves something inside, comes back and triggers the cannon, so it shoots through the buildings in a really great panel there. And lands into some mattresses and blasts back and cracks open the safe, spilling out into the streets with the Beagle Boys themselves just shoveling up the money, which we have on the front here. So really, really funny. Really great. My daughter really got a kick out of it. This next one is a bit longer, and it's about spies and everything. This kind of spy ring that the boys and Donald get swept up in. That was a hell of a lot of fun too. My daughter was a little freaked out at one point here. They're all drugged and they fall asleep, and Donald falls asleep with his neck on the train line, and she legitimately she gasped, so she was right there with the whole story. So a real blast. These are great. I don't know if I'm going to dive in and grab all of these, but if the price is right, another time maybe I'll pick up another issue. There we go, another book or two. We'll see. He had a couple of the Don Rosa stuff too. So if I pick up something else before he shuts down, it'll probably be one of those, just to get a taste of that as well. So yeah, really great. Hello, loading the cannon, Colin. How are you? Those Fanta Barks books are great. I wish they'd been around when I was younger, but I'm grateful to have them now. Absolutely. And like so many things that I end up talking about on here, it feels like it's so great to read this stuff with the kids. The stuff that I was reading with Jaden when he was growing up, we had such a blast reading comics together. So it's really nice to have this with Lily and sit and read this stuff with her. So yeah, lots of fun. So these last 2 books are from Red River Bookshop, and my son with Mouse. Hello, Chaos and Comics. How are you? He found one of the volumes at his school library, book number 2. So he grabbed it and he read it and he loved it. So we're upstairs digging around, and he had not 1 but 3 copies of the first one. So this is the Scholastics. He actually had a copy of the first print, which now I'm now I'm looking back. It's like I should have grabbed this and that copy of the first print. So I'm not sure how much is different, but the first print is a little thinner than this one. So I'm guessing that means this one has some extra stuff in it. So he started reading it this morning, actually. So he loved the second book. So I'm looking forward to hearing what he thinks about this one. And then while he's away, I'm going to try to read this because I've just never read it, you know, to be honest. I've never read Mouse. So I'm looking forward to sitting with it. I wish he would have had volume two. It would have been great to get them both at the same time, but that just didn't happen. So I'll have to keep digging for a copy of volume two. And I was telling him about the few pages in that Apex Treasury as well too. So when he's over next weekend, I'll show him that. There we go. I mean, everybody knows what the interiors look like. So very excited about that. That's very cool. And the final thing, a long time ago, a year, 2 years ago, at least, I grabbed, he had a whole bunch of European graphic albums. And over the years, I've pretty much bought them all. So one of the ones I grabbed was, I believe it's Yves Chaland. First name YVS, is that correct? Yes, Art Story Yves Chaland. So this was the first volume of his Freddie Lombard stuff. I don't know how much it collects. I don't know how much was put out. I'm not sure if there was any other volumes of this. So this is Humanoids, if I didn't say it already. And beautiful, beautiful stuff. When they first came out, they were like $40. He had these priced at $16 each. Hey, Ragamuffin, how are you? He had these priced at $16 each. So a couple of years ago, I grabbed this one. I read it. I enjoyed it. It didn't stick with me too much, but it wasn't something that I hated by any stretch. So he had this every time I've been since. I always see this on the shelf, but I'm always finding other stuff that I want instead. This time I finally just bit the bullet and I grabbed number two that he had there on the shelf. Again, same thickness. This one only collects 2 stories, and then there's a bunch of back matter in it. And I'll just kind of flip through. So there we go. Just some kind of black and white samples with a little blurbs from the man himself at the back. And I think there was also, let's see, it's crazy holding these. They're just gigantic. I absolutely love it. There you go, some cover reproductions there. One of the things that happened this week, we were talking, I don't remember who I was talking to, I apologize. We were talking about Ablaze came up, and Ablaze started following me on Twitter and liked our comments or whatever, so whatever that means. And I figured, you know, hey, I know that it's just some mook running the account, but I guess I'll throw it out there anyway. And I kind of just dropped the, hey, you know, if you decided to reprint this amazing work that you're doing into these European graphic album size, man, would I ever be over that. And they whoever it was responded and said they had no plans. And I think we've all spoken about it before. It's about the shelf space at bookstores is what they say. I call bullshit on that, but that's fine. I mean, my bookstore has shelves of all sorts of sizes. Some are tall, some are shorter, some are deeper than others, you know, so I don't necessarily buy that argument to be able to put out this stuff. Now, the expense and having to charge people more, that part I totally get. Like, look at this page, man. Yeah, exactly. Sponsorship, wink, wink. Yeah, exactly. Ablaze, 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 Ablaze. Hey, have I told you about Ablaze? Man, are Ablaze ever good. Tell you what I like to do, Ablaze. There we go, a French crack. So, yeah, if you want to send me stuff, even if it's not oversized, I'll still take it. It's beautiful. It's really, really gorgeous. Even just sitting here looking through it again. really amazing looking stuff. So I'm very exciting. My horse has an blazing saddle. It's true. I'm very excited to sit with this. This is top of the pile. This will be read tonight. I'm hoping to, if I don't fall asleep in my chair in 35 seconds flat. That's been happening lately. So very excited about that. Like I said, no idea if there is more. Oh, there's one more collection of Shalon. No idea if that collected everything. He died young. Okay. Um, Always exciting to find something else in this bigger format and European to read. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I don't think I am. Pardon me. No, that's the stuff that I think I've gotten read this week. Um, then the very final thing is these were kind of cool. Again, not that I collect action figures or anything. Check that shit out. So there was somebody on Marketplace selling a bunch of, or selling a few Swamp Thing characters from 1990, I think, from the cartoon. Um, and he had these three. There's more in this line and a whole bunch of other stuff, but I thought these looked incredible. That light shining all over it probably doesn't help too much. Let's try that. And this one, I bought the three because I really wanted this one. This is a glow in the dark Swamp Thing, and it's got kind of there we go. Looks like those tubers almost on it, and some leaves and various foliage and stuff. It's just a gorgeous figure for a kind of 90s, I don't know, toy line where they just pump this shit out by the millions, probably. I'm pretty impressed with the way this looks. I guess at one point it had some kind of fighting action thing. It doesn't really work too much anymore, but I'm a sucker for glow in the dark stuff. And Swamp Thing, I don't have a good Swamp Thing figure yet, so pick that up as I go even deeper into being a fucking nerd with this stuff. So that's about it. Those toys are about it. And that's it. So thanks very much, everybody, for hanging out. It was good to see you all. And we'll see you in 2 weekends. Ablaze, ablaze, ablaze.